Hi there, YouTube. So this is just a really short update, and I actually mean it this time, and I tend to say I'm going to do short videos and then go on for ages, but just a really quick update because things are happening pretty swiftly in the world of steering wheels. So first things first, the CSL DD is now available for order for everybody. Doesn't matter whether you pre-ordered or have bought Fanatec or whatever before, you can now go to the Fanatec website and place an order or pre-order for the CSL DD. Now they seem to be having an open-ended pre-order and just marching back the delivery date based on where you are in the stack. So from what I've seen, Wave 1 and Wave 2 basically managed to fill up the first order wave, and so late September delivery is the standard for Wave 1 and Wave 2. And as Wave 3 opened, the delivery date's starting to push back sort of October, November, and it's currently sitting at the 11th of November if you were to order today. So, you know, very exciting things are happening. Makes the wait for September all the more agonizing. So myself personally, whilst there still seems to be a lot of debate raging about what the power pack, like whether you can just fudge your way in with a different power pack and that meets all the requirements and just, you know, bodge together a plug and unlock the 8 Newton meters. And, you know, if it's that simple, you know, for all Fanatec's claims that it'll void your warranty, it's hard to see how they would ever know. That being said, I'm impatient. I've been saving money for the CSL DD anyway, and I want to be able to use the thing day one when it gets here. So I just bought the bundle. Okay, so $8.29, saved about $30 over buying the buying this as an add-on to the original part. Something to keep in mind if you are buying the CSL DD and you want both power packs, you have to order them as separate parts. If you order the bundle, you won't get the standard power supply. The other thing too, make sure you order the right table clamp if you're using it on the table. It's clearly called the CSL DD table clamp, not the podium table clamp. So that's that. Very exciting stuff. So definitely added those items on. As for which wheels I've decided to get, I was agonizing for quite some time. I was looking at the McLaren V3, McLaren GT3 and the WRC. But again, I've been saving money up and my budget permitted me to stretch. And so I've ordered the new Formula V 2.5. That's going to arrive day and date with the wheel, hopefully. And that doesn't seem to be any kind of accident. This is, you know, a fantastic looking Formula wheel. Just compared to the McLaren GT, it's a bit thinner and lighter. It's got the leather grips, you've got the thumb encoders here, and you've got the vibration in the wheel, you've got the quick release built on there. It's got the magnetic shifters, so it's just overall a slightly more fancy product. Playing in VR, I don't really care about the shift lights and all that, but I do like having really obvious chunky controls that I can feel without having to look at the wheel. And so having the thumb encoders there, that'll be great for adjusting brake bias and things like that. I'll probably use these two dials for ABS and traction control. Haven't decided what this encoder will be. Maybe just you know, maybe a fidget spinner. But that's the GT wheel, so that'll be the one I use for any more modern racing cars and basically circuit racing. So looking forward to getting my hands on to this bad boy. And I had a bit of a toss-up for what gravel wheel I was going to use. I really like the look of the R330 V2, which comes with the universal hub, but the release date on that was October, and for someone who mainly does gravel driving, it was, you know, get the V1, get a different wheel, or get the WRC wheel, or wait. And you know, waiting is not really something I want to do any more of, so I decided to split the difference and go for the Club Sport Porsche 918 RSR. And just to make sure everyone's clear on how the language works,
get to one that really makes me very angry. I hear the name Porsche a lot. I will say this only once. In Germany, we say Porsche. Good, and don't get this wrong again.
Okay. So now you know, Porsche. So basically it's a oval wheel, not 100% round, but it's a good diameter. It's got pretty much all the same thumb controls as the Sparco R383 that I've got at the moment. Diameter of 320 mils, only 1 centimeter smaller diameter, so same sort of feel. Leather stitched wheel. Price is pretty similar to the R330. It's not the universal hub, but having looked at what, say, the Sparco, like a real Sparco R330 costs, plus then getting the hub, the costs, once I get the universal hub, it'll all come out pretty evenly anyway. So this was a good way to split the difference. And even though it's not a very new wheel, it's one of the sort of older wheels in the Fanatec lineup. You know, it's excellent. Like there's nothing really to knock against it. It's a nice looking wheel. It's well built. Feature set's great for you know, any car that has a round wheel. So that's what I've ordered. So the CSL DD, power supply, table clamp, the Formula V 2.5, and the Porsche 918 RSR Club Sport wheel. And that way I've got my track racing covered, and I've got my gravel racing covered. And you know, there's many other different combinations you can try. Strangely, there doesn't seem to be much of a deal going for the old stock. Maybe look at third-party companies who might be trying to move on to Fanatec stuff if you don't mind getting the older stuff. And the changes between V1 and V2 in many cases just seem to be the magnetic shifters, and you know, maybe forward compatibility with the new quick release that they're doing. But doesn't seem to be any big dramatic reason to hold off. Although the new wheels are cheaper, so again, even Fanatec are trying to push people away from buying the old stock. So maybe there'll be a big sale coming. Now, for those who are looking at the CSL DD with sadness because it won't hook up with the PlayStation, there is confirmation that Fanatec are working on a PlayStation version of the CSL DD. I mean, I'm banking on the fact that if I do strongly feel the compulsion to hook it up to the to my PlayStation, I can just buy a drive hub, about $100. People are using, you know, Podiums. Well, actually, I think Podium works on PlayStation natively, but they, you know, the drive hub works with all kinds of stuff. And because the CSL DD is going to be such a huge seller, I'd be really surprised if they didn't come up with a solution. But anyway, if you want to do everything the official proper way, there is a PlayStation directly compatible version of the wheel, of the base, in the pipeline. I suppose the timeline for it being announced has probably been changed given that GT7's been delayed, and so you know, we've got to wait and see. Now, on the Thrustmaster front, they have released one more little bit of news. This little post here, the Thrustmaster T-Turbo. So are they hinting that the RTF, the T in that is turbo, 400 watts peak power of the box? That kind of peak power figure is kind of useless because it's just the power consumption or power use from the power supply. As we know, Newton meters is kind of the thing that everyone wants to know, because that is the, you know, measurable force of the wheel, not just how much energy does it consume. So people have made the connection to the TSXW and TSPC range of wheels because they come with the little turbo power supply. And so let's see if we can pull up the relevant info here. So if we look at the feature set for the for this wheel, it has the turbo power feature set, and this was on one of the pages there. So you can see that same T turbo. This is the external power turbo power supply generating extra power. Blah 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 blah. So given that their branding includes this feature here, and that they're name dropping this, it seems to point at a TSPC2. You know, if they can bring in a version of the TSPC at a much more competitive price, that will be pretty interesting. It does feel a little bit too late, if we're all being very honest here. And the other side of things, so they're hinting at more news coming on the 23rd of June, back to compete. But again, they're being super coy about this. If they really did have something to keep people holding fire on the CSL DD, they would have announced it now, because it's just, you know, bad business to let people commit money elsewhere, because once people are invested in a product, they're less likely to back away from it. And letting those customers slip through their fingers to order the CSL DD, I think they're not putting up as much of a fight here as would suggest that they have something in the pipeline to compete. I guess we'll see on June 23rd. I mean, worst case scenario, Fanatec, you know, it is a pre-order, so there's no legal reason why you can't cancel a pre-order. But again, like the fact they're letting people pre-order in the first place, like they're not trying to stop people from making those pre-orders in the first place, kind of suggests that Thrustmaster aren't directly trying to compete with the CSL DD. And again, some of the counter arguments, people saying, well, Thrustmaster's a huge company, you know, $200 million market value, something like that. Sure, big company, of course they're going to have the resources if they want to get into this market segment, but you still need to have that internal engineering experience and that internal focus. Like, you can't spin up from 0 to 100 overnight. It does take time, to, especially in a new market segment that you're not already competing in. So whilst I'm sure Thrustmaster may eventually be able to get into the DD market, you know, either their first generation product will be rushed, or it's going to be expensive, or some sort of compromise somewhere. You just can't turn an oil tanker on a dime. So anyway, that's the latest in the world of steering wheels. There's not really much left to be said at this point until, I guess, Thrustmaster make their update. So when more information comes out about that, I'll probably do another talking head video because people seem to like them. In the meantime, it's the long wait until, well, apart from that, it's the long wait until late September when the CSL DD will be here and ready. So in the meantime, I'll be getting some good use out of my good old T300. Already got some new video in the pipeline coming up. So if you want to tune in for that, please do. All right. Thank you for watching.